The Switch 2 has still not even been out for a year yet, which means we are still due for tons of Mario goodness. Whether it be mainline games or spin-offs, there's so many Mario games to look forward to on this new platform. So today we're going through every single Mario series and talking about what the next big perfect game could be following in that franchise. And yes, just for the sake of today's video to have a little bit of fun, I've even added some Mario adjacent franchises like the Wario, Yoshi, and Donkey Kong games, just because why not? There are tons of games for us to dive into, but first I want to thank War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. War Thunder is the most fun and easy to pick up vehicle combat game out there. You will be able to play as over 2,500 awesome vehicles, from tanks to planes and of course even warships. Each vehicle is riddled with detail and accompanied with realistic graphics and sounds. You'll be thrown right into the command seat. This isn't just a silly game about warships, it's actually incredibly detailed, down to the smallest part of each vehicle. Engine damage and missiles will behave similarly to their real life counterparts for full immersion. Let's say one of these missiles do land. You will have an awesome X-ray view of the damage and what caused your vehicle to fail. You can also take this awesome experience with you wherever you go, with an all-new iOS and Android version of the game that keeps in the same experiences but now on the go. War Thunder keeps you constantly coming back for more with 3 different increasingly realistic game modes: arcade mode for fast-paced action, simulator mode to really give you a challenge, and realistic mode for a nice middle ground between the two. If that's still not enough, War Thunder also has some crazy customization options, from camos, historical markings, ship decorations, and even community-made ones that allow you to truly stand out from the competition. You can jump in and join over the 95 million players today, and the best part is, all you need is your mouse, keyboard, or controller to get started. And with the game being heavily optimized thanks to the Dagger engine, you can enjoy a beautiful looking high frame rate experience as well. So now it's your turn to take the command seat. Play for free today on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile, and sign up using the links in the description down below. By signing up today, you will get a massive bonus pack that includes an exclusive vehicle decorator, Eagle of Valor. You'll also get 100,000 Silver Lions and 7 days of premium account, which is available for a limited time only for new and returning players on PC and consoles. You definitely do not want to miss this offer. Plus, it's free. What are you waiting for? Click the links down below and join the world of War Thunder today. And another big thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. Of course, there'd be no better way to start this video off than 3D Mario. You know how obsessed I am, so I'm not going to obsess too much with this video. I've talked about this way more than enough, but I feel like the best thing for them to do is to follow the blueprints that they've already laid out with Bowser's Fury. This next 3D Mario should be a giant open world that's just super fun to explore. This does not follow basic open world tropes though. This isn't just going to be open world slop. Every inch of the map will have something interesting to do. Platforming challenges scattered throughout the land, and maybe even little shrine-like platforming challenges that you can enter, like shrines from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But this world is super fun to traverse with Mario's moveset. It's beautiful, and you can seamlessly run from kingdom to kingdom, world to world, area to area on this map, freely explore Toad Town, and freely explore the entirety of Peach's Castle for the first time since Super Mario 64. And this time it's a fully fleshed out kingdom and castle that you can freely explore every nook and cranny of. Oh, that would be so awesome. So I think an open world 3D Mario is the best route. 2D Mario is still kind of fresh, and honestly, I don't know where they actually go from Wonder. I think Wonder was a really good game, and with the DLC, it made the game dang near perfect, with tons of multiplayer modes and awesome boss battle stages. So I feel like for the next game, the main primary focus should be making the boss battles a lot of fun. I love having wacky worlds with crazy effects in each world, so replicating that in some way could be cool. Honestly, I'd be perfectly fine with just a Wonder 2, with some really cool imaginative boss battles again. I think just having stages that has some sort of Wonder Effect-esque thing to it could be really cool to see again. Obviously, I don't think it will Flower Kingdom again. It will probably have a new world with a new story, but something where maybe you jump into one level and you're warped to another one or something like that. Some wacky mechanic like that to keep the 2D Mario games alive and fresh would be great. But honestly, just do what they did already, add some more difficulty, some more replay value, and some great boss battles like they did with the DLC, and you got yourself a really good 2D Mario game again. For the next Mario Maker, this one's kind of a branched path, because there's two possible directions they could go with this one, and it's just completely up to Nintendo what they want to do. For the first one, it could just be a direct follow-up to Mario Makers 1 and 2, where you get 2 to 3 new game styles, like maybe a new Wonder game style, and also maybe like a new 2D Galaxy-themed game style like they did with 3D World in 2D. So there's some options there for sure. I think people would absolutely fall head over heels for just a lot more course parts and like a Galaxy and a Mario Wonder 2D game style. I think for a lot of us that would be purely enough. We just want every game style to also have lots of content, because that was probably Mario Maker 2's biggest issue, is that some of the game styles like the 3D World one was lacking a lot of the things that the other game styles could do, and lots of the really cool updates didn't come until later on as updates instead of as the base game. And honestly, if they wanted to, they could just add a capture mechanic and make a 2D Mario Odyssey, which would be so freaking cool. With that moveset as well, people would go crazy with it. But for the other route, as cool as that would be, having a Mario Maker 3D would be a dream come true. Especially if the next 3D Mario is an open world game, a lot of people would want to go back to that classic style of platforming from like 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy and stuff. And imagine if you were able to create levels in those game styles, like a Sunshine level or a 64 level, and you can pretty much build your own 3D obstacle course, place a star somewhere and see how other players can reach them. You can make your own crazy Kaizo 3D platforming levels and stuff. It would be so cool, man. I mean, seeing the things that players were able to do so far with the 2D Mario tools have been absolutely insane. So seeing what they could do with a 3D Mario Maker would blow my mind, I'm sure of it. But Mario Maker is still a fresh new series with only 2 games under its belt, so I do feel like there's tons of room for this series to grow and flourish and directions for it to grow in. I just can't wait to see what Nintendo has planned for it next. For a lot of us, the last Mario Kart game, Mario Kart World, was kind of a letdown. They changed the formula greatly, and changed what we'd known and loved about our 3-lap tracks, and introduced some new things called intermissions, which were these long, kind of boring straightaways. So what does Nintendo do to fix this with the next Mario Kart game? Well, here's what I think they could do. The next game could have an open world, but it's not tied to the tracks. The open world is a separate world that's made specifically for story content, so it's built around that in mind, not having to connect the tracks. Maybe specifically just for story missions, boss battles, whatever you can do in single player. But the tracks are all individually picked like normal, so that way you don't have to worry about intermissions and driving to the next one or anything like that. Tracks are 3-lap tracks, but every track has a very special gimmick that makes it very unique. Maybe there's a Mario Wonder themed track where if one player gets a Wonder Flower, it changes the way the course looks or works. Or maybe there's a course like Odyssey where you can jump into a wall and it changes the race into a 2D one where you're just driving to the right and jumping in order to dodge obstacles and then jump back out of the wall. Some wacky stuff in each track would be really cool and make each one completely stand out. I also think they should just keep the trick system, because that's a really good system, and even like the little speedboat thing that they introduced where you drive on the water instead of in it, which I think was a huge plus. I would also change the glider sections completely again, now actually making you fly instead of just glide, because I feel like a lot of the time the gliding doesn't offer too much, but allowing you to transform your car into a plane and they actually able to fly it around in certain sections would be really cool. But overall, I feel like there's a lot of good DNA in Mario Kart World, but there's also a lot of bad stuff that they did. With just a couple of tweaks, you can make the next Mario Kart one that's truly memorable and stands out amongst the best. I will forever die on the hill that Paper Mario the Origami King is not that bad of a game. In fact, it's 100% the best of the modern trilogy, and I think it does some really nice things. The battle system is actually kinda unique, and the boss battles are some of the best in the entire Paper Mario series in my opinion. But with that said, it's obvious that the game still needs to go back to its original counterparts from 64 and the Thousand Year Door. With Nintendo remaking the Thousand Year Door, it gives me some serious hope that the next Paper Mario game is finally going to be a true return to form. I think the next Paper Mario should be a spiritual successor to the Thousand Year Door, a game with wacky worlds and unique partners. Yes, partners, a fresh story, and characters with a new antagonist to tie it all together would be really great to see right now. I would love to see once again a return to the basic style of battle system that the game used to have, but maybe with some new twists this time. It's still a time button press turn-based RPG, but maybe with some new unique qualities, like giving Mario brand new items that he can level up in a skill tree and use in different ways in battle, and some new combo move attacks with him and his partners. I think there's a lot of things they can do and just take take what they did with 1000 Year Door and upgrade that formula a bit. Honestly, I just want to return to form, something that we've had with 1000 Year Door, and seeing that game return is a really good sign, so hopefully Nintendo gives us another fresh world, story, characters, partners, and that battle system again. The return of Mario & Luigi with Brothership on the Switch was definitely a revival that we've been waiting for so long. After Alpha Dream went bankrupt, we didn't think we'd ever see Mario & Luigi again. But even though it returned, for a lot of people, this wasn't the return that we were hoping for. I personally really loved Mario & Luigi Brothership, but a lot of people really didn't. The change in the formula and also the incredibly slow pacing made people kind of feel very about it. But I feel like this next game is where we're going to truly see it shine. But what do they need to do to make this next game the best game they can? There's a fan project that's being worked on right now that's something that I've always thought about, is a Mario & Luigi game with more free movement, almost like a 3D Mario to an extent. Well, Lubba Dev on YouTube and Twitter is doing just that, and it looks so cool. So having a more free movement Mario & Luigi that they move at a faster pace and less restrictive would be really cool. Let me make it very clear, because I know people will get upset, this is not a 3D Mario though. It just adds more 3D Mario movement with Mario and Luigi in the overworlds. You still have your turn-based RPG battle system that everyone knows and loves, but with this time, I feel like one of Brothership's main issues is there weren't tons of bosses this time around. So this time, yes, lots of mini bosses and big unique bosses and a unique location once again. I also love when they give Luigi some type of main gimmick or mechanic in the game, like the Luiginary Works in Dream Team or the Luigi's Logic in Brothership, where Luigi has some very unique commands and things he can do in the middle of battle systems, and I feel like more of this would have been greatly appreciated for regular battles or even for boss battles. And on the location that you're in, there's certain things in the background that you can always interact with, but I feel like this was an awesome new addition in this game. I also want the story to be more evolving with unique areas each time. It shouldn't be, hey, go to these 4 things, like these 4 lighthouses that look exactly the same, and do these tasks in order to fight a boss at the end of each lighthouse. It should feel like an expansive story that takes you into new and unique areas and parts of the story that you didn't expect. Like, you truly didn't know what was going to happen next in something like Superstar Saga, or with the story following Fawful and Bowser's Inside story. There was always some crazy new plot point that made every new chapter absolutely bizarre and wild, and I want to see that return again. I know this is a strange one to talk about since we've technically only gotten one original game in this, I don't even know if you can call it series, but what if we get a new Mario RPG? I mean, they did bring the game back again in a modern way, so maybe they could be planning on making a new Mario RPG. Something like this would be great because it's a different style than Mario & Luigi and even Paper Mario. It's more classic. I mean, yes, Paper Mario kind of evolved from this game, but something that's more of a very simple, basic, turn-based RPG with a unique world and crazy characters. I mean, this game doesn't even feel like it's from Nintendo, which it technically isn't. It was Square Enix. So having Square Enix make another Mario RPG with another wacky world and crazy unique enemies and characters and villains would be really cool. Just have Square return and give it that chibi approach that they already did with the remake, and I feel like you could have an awesome new story with some cool characters, funny haha moments, and just some wacky things all together. I wanted to add Mario Rabbids to this list, but I just didn't really care to, because I feel like they've done everything they can with that series, and just seeing a constant outpour of more Rabbit games with Nintendo just felt strange. I'd rather see another Mario RPG. So if you're wondering why Mario Rabbids isn't here, you can thank RPG, because I still feel like another one of these would be really cool. For the last, decade, I feel like, Nintendo has been slowly trying to bring Mario Party back to its former glory it once was, and they always missed the mark by just a little bit, and even with Jamboree, I feel like they missed the mark with some things. So for the next Mario Party, I feel like it's time for it to finally be the perfect one. Well, how do they do this? This next Mario Party game needs to be full of content. I'm talking over 10 brand new game boards, over 100 normal and fun mini games that are unique and not just luck-based RNG games. The game also needs some replayability. With single player content and collectibles, you've seen stuff like this in some of the old Mario Party games. I think even Mario Party 8 had a lot of little collectibles and side modes you could play as a single player, because let's face it, a lot of people that buy Mario Party games, not all of them have people to play with all the time. And also have some fun little side modes that don't take away from the main boards and minigame content count. Like, that's the probably biggest problem of Jamboree. They had lots of side modes and games, but it pulled away from the actual number of minigames that the game had, had, making it seem like it had a lot, where a lot of the mini games were tied to these side modes. And also, bring back board themes. Remember how Mario Party 8 also had like every single board had a unique style and theme to it? There was a Monopoly one with Tycoon Town, where you put bids and ownership over buildings, maps where it was simply about reaching the end of a super long path, or getting through a giant maze inside of a mansion. These boards kept the game feeling fresh, and it was always a worthwhile reason to pick each board. It's really not that hard to make a really good Mario Party game. I know Nintendo can do it, they just really need to lock in. I am so incredibly tired of Mario Tennis and golf, and as a huge golf fan, I'm tired of it. I'm ready to move on to see what's next. I mean, we even got a new Mario Strikers, but to me, there's two games it's definitely time for. And both of these games, technically, only gotten 2 appearances. That's Mario Basketball and Mario Baseball. Honestly, I don't care what they do with these games. Give them a fun story mode that isn't just a super boring tutorial like the tennis game, and just let us play baseball, let us play basketball, and have tons of side modes and missions and mini games that we can play with them as well. Pretty much what they've been doing with Mario Tennis and Mario Golf, but this time, give us something that's not Mario Tennis and Mario Golf. Fill the game with tons of characters in its roster out the gate, especially if this is a Mario Baseball game. Mario Baseball is known for its dynamic roster of characters. That's why people love Super Slugger so much. You can play as the Critters and even freaking King K. Rool and Funky Kong, for crying out loud. With Nintendo adding so many new characters into their games over the years, this roster can be absolutely stacked with enemies and main characters throughout the main and spin-off Mario franchises. I feel like also having a fleshed out online mode with proper ranking system, extra modes to play, casual and competitive options, and maybe even tournaments or leagues depending on if it's basketball or baseball could be really big. I'm a huge Super Sluggers fan, but personally, I don't know which one I'd want more. I kind of think Mario Basketball would also be equally really cool for a full fleshed out basketball game, very similar to Mario Hoops 3-on-3, but this time a lot bigger and more grandiose. But I don't know. Who's going to pick up this game? Is it going to be Square Enix again like Mario Hoops 3-on-3 and Mario Sports Mix, or is it going to be somebody else completely different? Regardless, I really hope to see some new sports for the next Mario Sports game. Luigi's Mansion 3 was dang near a perfect experience for me. I absolutely loved everything that they did, and for the next game, there's not a whole lot I would change. I would continue everything that they've added in Luigi's Mansion 3, and maybe make the world a little bit more open. Now, I'm not talking about a grand open world like Breath of the Wild or something like that. I'm talking more of just an open-ended experience, kind of what they did with the first game on the GameCube. A full mansion that you can fully explore and walk to each area as a giant open world. Now, Luigi's Mansion 3 was kind of in this vein as one entire hotel, but they kind of hit it with the fact that you had to take an elevator that took you to each level. So technically it wasn't really open world. The elevator took you to each level as kind of a linear story structure. So I would like maybe 4 to 5 really big open areas that you can travel to and explore the entire area. Think of something like the mansions from Dark Moon. Imagine if they completely scrapped the mission mode, and you pretty much were dropped off in each area and freely allowed to explore the mansion at your own leisure. You could find random boss battles, do side stories, but there will still be one overarching goal that you have to accomplish in each area. I think that would be really cool. Give Luigi more poltergeist abilities, like they completely took away his medallion abilities from the first game, having water, fire, and just ice. I am sure the poltergeist will have new abilities. Each game adds something new, like the dark light in the second one, and you also had the Gooigi stuff in the third one. There's always something, you know what I mean? Even the plunger being added in the third game. But the game could also be a bit darker and scarier, with some more scarier moments that harken back to the original. I know they are trying to kind of slowly move away from that scary aspect of the original game, but I would love to see them go back down that path, at least for some areas being completely dark. And also, please make sure you bring back the boss ghosts again. They completely carried this game. And also, give them some lore this time around. It'd be cool when you capture them, you could uncover some cool details about who they are and who they were in the past and stuff. That would be great. So this is one that I'm actually surprised that Nintendo hasn't done anything with since the original Captain Toad, besides just keep bringing back the original Captain Toad. They brought it back on the 3DS and then on the Switch with some additional Mario Odyssey themed levels, but for crying out loud, it's time for Toad to get another game, and having it follow the same route it did in the first one, but I think more expansive levels would be great. Just more puzzle-based platforming. Like I said, it could still be the floating dioramas in the sky that you have to solve, but imagine bigger, more expansive levels, and also give Toad some power-ups and maybe a new moveset this time around to make him run faster, maybe even a little hop or something, but some sort of abilities where each stage can feel unique and even help him with combat and with boss battles. So yeah, I feel like just giving Toad some new tools could be really, really cool, just giving him some items or power-ups that already exist in past Mario games. But seeing a more expansive, bigger version of what we got with the first game would be great, and I just can't believe we haven't seen anything yet. Now, speaking of another puzzle-based game, we have Mario vs. Donkey Kong, the puzzle platformer. Now, they've kind of changed the formula over the years to introduce the minis in weird ways, but finally went back to what made the series so great is the original GBA game. Now, this type of game might not resonate with everybody, I get that, but it is pretty addictive. But the problem with remaking an old GBA game is the game feels extremely outdated. The mechanics and course parts just feel old and bland compared to what they could do nowadays. I mean, the new worlds they added in the remake were really, really good and added some really cool new mechanics. So they could actually do some really cool things with a follow-up to the original game. One thing I thought would be cool is having mini toy versions of tons of Mario characters again, but this time it isn't a mini game. Instead, Mario must capture and rescue all the different mini toys, and in each stage, when he rescues a new mini character, he gets to use that mini character's ability, where he'll pull out the toy and that character can do something special. Like maybe once you rescue Toy DK, it allows you to pull out a mini barrel and shoot DK out like a projectile gun. Or in one stage, Mario can pull out a toy Peach above his head where she'll pull out a balloon or a parasol in order to help him float or glide down. I feel like this would be a really cool way to introduce the mini toys again, but also to keep the game focused on Mario's platforming. But either way, I don't think Mario vs. Donkey Kong deserves to just die, and we know Nintendo loves to bring back this series in one way or another. Hopefully if they do though, it's more the classic approach. I am so glad we got a new 3D Donkey Kong, but it also pains my heart that we didn't get a new 2D Donkey Kong since Tropical Freeze, because man, Tropical Freeze is still one of my favorite video games I've ever played. It is dang near perfection, and I would love to see a third and final game to close off the modern DKC trilogy, but it just never happened. If this was just a direct follow-up to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, I would be in heaven. With great music and level mechanics where each stage feels unique, count me in. I think the one major thing that they could make this game absolutely 10 out of 10 perfect is to really work on the boss battles. Make each and every single one stand out, and a great ending to wrap up the game, because Tropical Freeze's ending is the only negative I can think of. And for this third and final game in the modern trilogy, bring back the Kremlings. We know King K. Rool is officially back, so bring them all back. Make this feel almost like a modern day DKC or DKC2. Shoot, even DKC3. I know people hate that game, but you know what I'm talking about. You can also have throwback bosses and stages that represent those past games as well, kind of like they did in Bonanza with some of the bonus rooms. But I would be seriously so hurt if for some reason the Donkey Kong Country franchise doesn't return in some way. The fact that I can even talk about this now makes me so happy. 3D Donkey Kong is back, baby, since Donkey Kong 64, and we just got Bonanza, so it's gonna be a very long time if we ever see another 3D Donkey Kong. But what do they do next? I feel like the whole digging mechanic was really cool and really unique, but maybe in the next game they don't really focus on digging or breaking apart the terrain, but rather using the terrain in cool, unique ways. A while ago, there was actually a 3D Donkey Kong game in development, I think being made by the Crash Bandicoot team if I'm not mistaken, where the game was going to be about Donkey Kong grinding on rails and swinging on vines in a jungle. I think that could still be really cool. Making this game more platforming based and punching and digging I think could be a pretty unique thing. Also include more playable characters, because why not? Having Diddy or Dixie in there, or maybe even Cranky with different abilities like Donkey Kong 64 did, but not the way Donkey Kong 64 handles them, because we don't want to have to run all the way back to a barrel in order to change characters. That sucks. But honestly, just like any 3D Mario game, I could care less what they do do next. I mean, they could make the same exact game again with the new world and a new area, and I'd be perfectly fine because Donkey Kong Bonanza was so good. So yeah, just let the team cook and make a new 3D Donkey Kong. Hopefully we don't have to wait another 20 plus years though. This is a strange one because there's a Yoshi game coming out literally in about a couple of weeks with Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. But even with that said, there's another Yoshi game that I've been desperately waiting for, and I thought for sure the first Yoshi game of Switch 2 was going to be this one. A full 3D Yoshi game. I would love to see a 3D Yoshi game in the vein of something like Mario 3D World, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, something that's more linear and level-based, but pretty much just like a level-based 3D Yoshi's Island or Yoshi's Woolly World game would be really, really cool. Having that Woolly or Crafted World art style but in 3D could be really, really awesome. Or just having a 3D Yoshi's Island for once would be really, really cool. And they just haven't bothered bringing Yoshi into 3D yet for some reason. Throwing eggs in a 3D space, the camera going behind Yoshi and you're able to chuck an egg at something in the background just would be so much fun. Each stage can have collectibles like the smiley flowers and red coins and boss battles at the end of each world, maybe mini bosses in the middle of each world. It'd be an easy game, maybe you don't even take damage or die, but it would just be a fun platformer. Please, Nintendo, give us a 3D Yoshi game eventually. I really don't know what in the world the future holds for Princess Peach. Will she get more games? I don't know. She started off with a 2D Mario Bros-like game with Super Princess Peach, which was actually pretty fun and kind of challenging, but then moving on to a completely child-based Princess Peach Showtime, so it's impossible to guess what Nintendo's going to do next. Maybe another slower-paced 3D adventure game again, like Princess Peach Showtime, perhaps with even more transformations and things for Peach to turn into and do. Maybe she gets sucked into different genres of movies or shows. I mean, I think Showtime already kind of does that, so I don't know. This one's very confusing for me. Maybe it's more of a Mario 3D World style game with linear level gameplay, where she can use her umbrella as a melee weapon like in Super Princess Peach. That'd be pretty cool, or maybe use it to float around, or maybe the game's based around her parasol, where throughout the game, maybe she'll get different umbrellas with different effects, or maybe different power-ups that's based on her umbrella where it changes into different forms. I think that could be pretty cool. So that way, you're kind of in a way merging Princess Peach Showtime and Super Princess Peach together, making it more than just a game for small children, but I don't know. Based on what they did with Princess Peach Showtime, I think they're going to keep Princess Peach a game made for smaller children. And last but not least, if there is one plumber that Nintendo has forgotten about, it's Wario. Because Wario has not had an adventure game since Wario Land Shake It on the Wii. He's had lots of micro games, but no adventure games anymore. So I would love to see another Wario Land game, or shoot, even another Wario World game where it's just a wacky 2D or 3D platformer. What makes Wario platformers stand out is it's more about adventuring and finding secrets and solving puzzles while also being a beat 'em up, absolutely obliterating enemies, picking them up, shaking them, ground pounding them, slamming them, or throwing them off into the background. So seeing another one of these style of games would be great, where enemies could affect Wario by attacking him and turning him into something like they did in the classic Wario Land games. Doing something like Wario Land 3 and 4 again would be really cool. Specifically 3, I've always loved 3 because of the exploration aspect. Going throughout a giant kind of open world 2D stage was always really, really cool to me. But honestly, you know me, I love my 3D platformers. So seeing something like Wario World again would be so awesome for me. I mean, I feel like Wario World is an absolutely underrated gem on the GameCube. But whatever it is that Nintendo's cooking up again for Wario, I hope it retains that wacky, chaotic nature that Wario games have always had. And that's every mainline and spin-off Mario franchise covered for their next big game. Let me know if I missed any franchise or any game in particular that you would like to see as the next installment, and let me know if any of these really pique your interest for their next game. Before you head out, we are super close to 400,000 subscribers. You can make that happen today by leaving a like and subscribing if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.